Okay, so from this angle you should be able to see directly up my nose, which I'm sure is perfect. So let's have a look at the answers of the questions. I've had the book shut, so I've lost the questions. Okay, the monsters of the mountains. Question 1. What are the Sherpas? Who are the Sherpas? The Sherpas are pretty famous people. They're the locals that live in Nepal. Now, famously, they're part of the British Empire still. They're considered, the military force there are considered part of the English army. And they have the utmost respect for them. Apparently they're incredibly strong, powerful soldiers. I've heard of English soldiers training with them and just saying we couldn't even get close to keeping up with these guys. It's considered a real honour to work for the British Army as a Sherpa. So they're considered extremely hardy, strong people who live in a very difficult country. Nepal is absolutely beautiful, stunning country, some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen, but it's hard. And I can only imagine that living there makes you hard. It's just all mountainous, and it's just rugged rocks and harsh, straight up sort of mountainsides. So these people are very, very fit. What is the most common description of a yeti? Basically a large sort of ape-type creature with some humanoid features. What do the footprints in Shipton's photograph look like? Big ovals or vaguely like footprints with fewer fingers and big fat thumbs sticking out. What name is given to the tallest yeti? Obviously that's called Dave. Sorry, let me just double check. The Zooter is believed to grow up to 2.5 meters. The Zooter, I think. Why are the Sherpas so sure that the Yeti exists? They know the area, so they're looking at footprints, they've seen it themselves. With them it's considered common knowledge that they exist. And interestingly, we did this before when I did grade 11 before, and there was talk of a creature living in Cambodia that may or may not exist, and this was on websites. So one of the groups said, well no, it does exist, it's common knowledge, so okay, prove it. And sure enough, it's just a breed of cattle, and it does exist, and it's existed for thousands of years, and in other countries it's considered to have died out decades or hundreds of years ago. But no, still alive, there it is, photographs given. So according to the Sherpas, it's common knowledge, it exists. Why was Edmund Hillary so sure it existed? He saw it, he saw the footprints. What prehistoric creature from China is the Yeti believed to be descended from? A proto-human, forget where we saw that. The historian described a band of hairy men living in wild man, Peking man, their version of Homo erectus. What evidence does scientists gather to conclude that the Gigantopithecus is probably 2.7 meters tall? Teeth and jawbones, which is a really unreliable way to measure the height, because the jawbone could be much larger and stronger depending on what the animal is. So the head shape and size it's a very unreliable way to measure the overall size of a creature. How are the teeth different from modern apes? Or larger, obviously. Stronger and thicker enamel, which implies that they're more... enamel's the thick armour that covers your teeth, designed to chew heavy roots and things that need breaking up for grinding. Why would it be possible to be ignorant of the existence of the animal? Because Nepal is just a very difficult place to be. There's lots of caves for it to hide in, there's whole valleys where they could be. For instance, if we take the Loch Ness Monster, I'm sure some of you have heard of the Loch Ness Monster. Well, I've been to Loch Ness, it's a lake, and it's an incredibly large lake. Now, I'm going back a bit, but it's a big lake. You could drive around it in a few hours, but the volume of the lake, you could fit the whole human race inside the lake 7 times over. So you can see that there's plenty of room in there for a gigantic sea creature to have hidden and to thrive and to breed. It's a huge space, and that's just a lake. You can imagine all these mountain ranges where no one ever goes because humans can't survive. So it's possible that something else did. Explain the meaning of these words when they're used in the passage. Persists means to keep going. Enduring means to keep trying against odds. Tradition is something that's been long held and long believed. Authorities are those in charge. Upright. Now in this context, upright means literally to stand up straight. Most apes don't walk upright. They have a very pronounced stoop because they use their hands as a means of propulsion as well. So an upright creature is walking on its two legs. Now if you look at the way humans walk, we lock our knees. We're not very strong. Our muscles in our legs aren't strong enough for us to walk. So we literally have to lock our knees rigid as we move along. And what's interesting is a lot of the footage of these creatures, if they are creatures, it walks with bent legs, which means its muscles are much, much stronger than ours. So it walks more like a cross between an ape and a human. Ascent is to climb up. Substantiated means to have evidence for, not necessarily proved, but to have some kind of evidence to support it. And theories are just ideas that are unsupported by facts at the moment. Reading for ideas, let's have a look. Do you think there is enough evidence in this report for the existence of the yetis? Give reasons for your answers. I can only give you mine, and I would have to say there is no evidence. All we've got is their say-so that we found footprints, and we've got eyewitnesses. Eyewitness account is not evidence, so I would argue that this report doesn't give us anything except unsubstantiated rumours and theories. Do you think these creatures should be hunted for scientific reasons? That's a very difficult one. Hunted implies killed. I believe these animals should be, if they are animals, whatever they are, there should be scientific research into it because this is very important. These creatures could be closely related to us because we really, really do not know where we came from. I actually saw an article about this the other day. Recently, in the last few decades, they found a Neanderthal, a small child, female child, very well preserved, well enough that they could get a sample of the DNA. Now, it's always been assumed that we evolved from Neanderthals, that we had shared ancestry. And now that we've actually been able to map our DNA and the DNA of this Neanderthal, we now know we didn't come from Neanderthals. We didn't come from any of these animals. So there's no way we could have spontaneously evolved on this planet. We actually have no idea where we came from. We arrived on Earth 200,000 years ago, very suddenly. Now, if there are other creatures, hominids or half-man creatures wandering about, I'd like to know for sure, because it would give us a lot of information towards what happened to ancient humans or ancient hominids, and give us more insight into where we come from. Now, if this DNA sample of the hair is true, and there was about 25% human DNA in it, does that mean that the creature was evolved from us or we evolved from it? But again, without good science, we really don't know. So if we're going to say hunted, then I would say it should be searched for scientifically, so long as we can make a minimal impact on the way these creatures live. If they exist, I would definitely want to know, and I think it would be worth looking for them. Even if we disrupt them slightly, I think the net benefit to human understanding would probably be worth it. Okay, so that's purely my opinion. Your opinion is probably going to be different. Nothing wrong with that. So that's the answers to questions 1 through 11. 1 through 13. Sorry, not awake yet. I hope you got most of those right. I hope I got those right because I didn't really check on them properly. So thank you very much for paying attention.